All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another live stream. And I'm still watching on here, so there's about a 20-second latency in case you're curious, and I'm just making sure that my technology is working all right. But I think everything worked out okay, and I don't know if you all saw, but I tried something new there with the snow effect and then the music just to get in the holiday spirit. And so I'm pretty happy that actually worked because I actually figured out how to do that about 20 minutes ago. So welcome. I love Christmas time, so you can see that even here in my office, I've got my hue lights set to Christmas colors, red and green. My wife just got me this little Mario Christmas tree from GameStop, so this is really cool and relatively cheap. I mean, it's tiny. I think it was like $20, but it was well worth it, I think. So yeah, welcome. So what are we doing today? We are going to be focusing on refactoring some of the code that we've been doing with the movie ratings model. I've tried to keep it a little bit simple today just because there's been like this weird cold going around my house, and even you may have heard it in last week's live stream where I kind of just struggled to about 30 minutes in with my voice giving out with too much. So I'm going to try something lighter today, and I might even try one thing that I've struggled to understand how to balance these live streams well with is how much do you want me to do talking and how much do you just want to see me code. And so today I might actually just try the whole silence kind of thing. Not like I'm trying to be quiet, but just where I can focus and then think, because I've not thought through everything that we're going to be discussing today. So to give a little recap, so let me go ahead and share my screen. I guess I should have had a Christmas wallpaper. Missed opportunity on my end. Okay, so let me go ahead. And also, so I do have I got my iPad over here, and I'm just looking at you could see that I was looking for royalty-free music here because I want to, of course, want to be respectful of creators. Okay, so IntelliJ. But yeah, I don't know if I'm hoping the live comments are going to work for you people on LinkedIn. I definitely know they'll work for people on YouTube. So if you have questions and you're streaming on either platform, go ahead and give them an answer. I'm watching YouTube over here and I'm watching LinkedIn over here. Okay, so quick recap on where we were at last time. So we have already been working through this project with what do you call it? Jupyter notebooks. And so I'm trying to get the code out of the Jupyter notebooks now and refactoring it into Python scripts. And the reason for this is that, Jupyter notebooks are fantastic for things like exploratory data analysis, just general coding kind of things that you're wanting to figure out. But what they're not great for is actually wanting to productionize these things. And so, we're not going to do this today, but at some point I would like to get all of this whole project working on either Kubernetes, so locally with something like Minikube, and then maybe even later on with what do you call it? AWS SageMaker specifically. And so because SageMaker's got quite a few little gotchas, I am actually refactoring the code right now to actually be cognizant of those gotchas. So again, this is actually my feature engineering notebook, and that is one thing that I need to kind of figure out yet still as well. So you can see, or let me just go ahead and show you what I've done so far. So off on the left navigation here, you can see that I have, this is kind of how I like to organize my repositories. So I put all of the meat of what my code is going to be inside this directory I called container. And the reason, obviously, for that is that I want to put this in a Docker container going forward. And so the way, and just to give you a little preview, the way that SageMaker works is that whenever you build a Docker container, they want you, depending on what thing you're running, if you're running a training job, if you're running a script that starts a real-time API, they actually want these little scripts that that look like this over here. And I unfortunately can't zoom in on this. I can zoom on this, no problem, but I can't zoom on this. But if you're having a tough time seeing that, what it basically says here, let me collapse that up a little bit. So under the container directory and then the subdirectory data engineering, we have preprocess, serve, and train. Serve and train. And so like basically, even though these don't have file extensions, they're basically a little shell script. So you can see here that this preprocess one, let me go ahead and make that bigger for y'all, is just doing a run of Python and going into the data engineering subfolder and then going to main.py. And so when it comes to like organizing your code appropriately, there's not like one set way you have to do things. You can actually do things in many ways. But the reason I kind of wanted to do a stream like this today is because, if there's one thing that I struggle with the most in working with other people's codes, it's knowing even where to begin. And it's because, some people are really good about making it clear about like where you like is the entry point, if you will. And so what I'm trying to do here is, so with this pre-processing script is, underneath this data engineering directory, we are going to be creating a number of different Python files, but I want to make it pretty clear with a main.py here that this is going to be kind of like our coordination script. So you can we aren't, theoretically, we could shove all of the code in one single file here. I think that's not good for organization. So what we're doing here is, we have our main script instantiation, and I've already written this for one of these. The code to actually get our Google Sheets data is in here. And so I don't normally, honestly, I don't normally follow these like PEP8 kind of things. And in case you're curious what PEP8 is, so for those of you who went to a traditional university, you probably had to write a lot of papers like I did. And your professor probably told you had to write in a specific format. So that could be something like MLA, APA, what was the other big one? Turabian. I don't know if even Turabian was a thing. Like, I feel like Turabian, so like when I went to school, fun fact, I actually went to a Christian undergraduate university because I originally wanted to be a church pastor. Obviously, things changed and quite a bit. So, like, I actually did graduate from that university with a business degree and then eventually became a machine learning engineer. But anyway, so when I first went there, they were starting us off on MLA in my freshman year, the first semester of my freshman year, and then the second semester they switched us over to Turabian, and I don't really remember anything about Turabian. I just remember hating it. And then toward the end of my college career, then they switched back to APA, and I think because I kind of feel like, I don't know why they chose Turabian. APA just seems to be like the more, or at least at the time, the more standard one. But anyway, so when it comes to coding, there actually is something called PEP8, and I actually don't remember what PEP8 stands for, or PEP at least. PEP8, not 9. All right, so this is like a style guide for how people should like organize their code to be like the most, what do you call it? Like the most like user friendly, like that. So, and they even had like specifics. So like you're supposed to name constant variables with all capital letters. You're supposed to name classes with an uppercase letter to begin with, and then like if it's like multiple words, like my class. Here, actually, let me just show you. So if I had to write a class here, it would have to be class, my class, like that. And then, so you can see here, I'm trying to adopt this or hold to some of those things. And so you can see here that like this, these constant values that don't change at all, like they get capitalized as such. Functions in here have the triple double quotes for doc strings. And so if you're not familiar with what a docstring is, so like this is a function here. A docstring basically just says like gives like the fancy information of like what the function is supposed to do. And you know, honestly, like so I did this just to adhere to PEP8, like, but most people don't really care about docstrings, not because like they're not valuable per se, but like because nobody's going to go look in the actual code for this documentation. They're going to go out to some website. So for example, like pandas like has their own, like, let's look it up. So pandas, let's just do a read CSV to look at what that looks like. So like, I'm not going to look at the doc strings of the code. I'm just going to go in here and look at this, like this nicer formatted kind of thing here. And the reason I picked pandas is because, you know, they're actually, I would say middle of the road when it comes to documenting their stuff. Like middle of the road meaning like, is fine. Like, I don't think it's the best documentation, but it's also not the worst. So you can see here that you can see all the parameters and stuff that comes in. And then if I keep scrolling on down, then you can see like that it returns a data frame or something. My personal like favorite documentation is, I think, HashiCorp. I think HashiCorp has the best documentation, and this is just a personal opinion. So HashiCorp Terraform, let's, I don't know, pick out a Lambda function. So if you look at what they've done here, then like you can see that they got a basic example here. And then you could see the whole thing now. But you know, all that to just say is, like, I don't really care for the usage of doc strings. I just thought it would be a fun activity to try to write them myself. So for this particular file here, I have created two little sub functions. I don't know if that's necessarily the right word, but this is how we're getting our specific data appropriately from the Google Sheet. So you can see from here in main.py, I am inheriting the functions over from the other Python file in here. And again, it's up in the top left here. And then I like to do little print statements as kind of like a logging kind of thing. Which, by the way, I know people don't really like this, but like, because there actually is a logging functionality. I mean, the logging is good for some things, but when it comes to actually like running this in some sort of like interface, like most modern interfaces like Kubernetes or even AWS SageMaker, like the print statements work just fine for what like. Again, that's another personal preference kind of thing. So anyway, what we're going to do here is, so this is the main.py script. Let me go ahead and close this other one out. And we are going to go ahead and start adding all the other scripts that we created from our Jupyter notebooks over into here. And I need to start refactoring them along the way because if you recall, this is building this thing from scratch every single time. And I would like to refactor it in such a way that it's going to be nice with SageMaker right off the bat. But I don't know if it's going to be. All right, so I'm just checking my technology to make sure the streams and stuff are working okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this. So the first thing that we did first thing that we'll need to do is load the data. And I'm not sure if I remember how I was doing this, because I am writing out the data like every now and then. Okay, so you can see that I'm writing it out here. But here's even one thing that I want to refactor is I'm going to create another header, a fake header here. So even though this is not Pepe, I like this fake header kind of thing that I do with the comments here. So you can see here that like I have the script instantiation. I'm going to put, gosh, what do I want to call this? Because I want to basically put like variableized file, like, because the way, so just a quick preview, like the way that SageMaker jobs work is like, so when you create the job and you have your container, it mounts up the files from this place called S3 to the container, and almost like an ephemeral storage kind of thing. And actually Kubernetes kind of has a very similar functionality. It's just like, so you have your pod and then you have your persistent volume claim, and the persistent volume claim mounts to the pod, and then you can make use of the files that way. And so that's kind of what I want to do here. And it's just that SageMaker specifically has these directories that are very, very specific. So I'm going to call this, what am I going to call this? Well, I don't want to call this script instantiation. File path instantiation. I don't know. I don't like that, but we'll come back to it later. All right, just make a couple of extra spaces there. So pointing to the primary subdirectory, or the primary directory where data will be loaded and saved. Okay, so all right, so in the way that SageMaker likes to save all their stuff, and we'll go ahead and emulate this, because like I said, we're going to be able to use this not just for SageMaker, we're going to be able to use this for a couple different projects. But the reason I'm doing it for SageMaker is because SageMaker is the one that's the most limited, and so therefore it's easier to write this for the one that's most limited, and then kind of expand out to make it work for everybody else. I didn't even point out. Did you all see my Christmas sweater? Here, let me go ahead and switch back for a second. Did you all see my Christmas sweater? I can't believe this. This is insane. Last year, I got this sweater. This is a Legend of Zelda sweater, and it's like legit, like knit and stuff. There was like a weird Black Friday sale, and like I just happened to log on at the right time. I got this thing for like $10. Like, Best $10 I've ever spent. Okay, back to the code. So pointing to the directory. All right, so I'm going to call this primary directory equals. So it's actually, for SageMaker, it is opt/ml. And then creating and notating the subdirectories from, noting the subdirectories underneath the primary directory. Okay, so I'm going to call one of these input path equals, do I have OS in here? Okay, so os.path.join, is it os.path.join? I always forget this. I always have to Google it. All right, os path join. Is that right? Yeah, it looks like it's right. Okay, Geeks for Geeks. I like Geeks for Geeks. Like, honestly, like, they actually do a pretty good job at, like, documenting some of these things. Okay, so you can see here, this is how it works. It's basically a string concatenation, but, like, I don't know. I think this is a little bit cleaner. And again, personal opinion, different ways to do different things. All right, so I'm going to do primary directory, directory slash inputs. And then I'm going to call this output path equals os.path.join output. All right, so we got to do the primary directory. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I did that. Slash inputs. And I don't remember if I need this other thing. So primary directory. All right, so I'm going to call this outputs. All right, and so what we want instead is to have our one little file write out to this output path instead of the input path. Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to come into here. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. All right, so equals, because I'm saving these reviews to a CSV file, so data.raw/raw/ and maybe I don't even need to do this. No, I do still want to do this. Okay, so let me check back in here. All right, so output. So, all right, I'm gonna replace this. Well, so I'm gonna delete this. For some reason, my brain doesn't like to think like if I delete something right away. So this is why I'm kind of just like recreating this thing here. So to CSV os.path.join, and I can already tell that my voice is gonna get weird. So this might be a shorter live stream today, but I hope you get the spirit of what we're trying to do here. All right, so os.path.join. What did I call this guy here? All right. Output path. All right, so output path slash, comma, Halen reviews.csv. Got it. Okay. Because what we're going to do at the end of here, is I'm going to be creating a fake script to kind of emulate the whole thing. And in fact, I should have created a Docker file at the beginning of all this. Ooh, maybe. Okay. What do I want to do next here? Because, I do want to load this all as a Docker container. So do I want to go ahead? I guess I'm going to go ahead and create a Docker file for this whole thing. I didn't want to do that quite yet, but that's fine. Docker file. Did I really not have a Docker file already? Okay. All right, so let me go and look at the other Docker files that I built before. Because part of the, I could use just any old base image, but I'm trying to get this to be as minimal work for me down the road as possible. And so one of the things that I want to do as part of this live stream is show you the importance of getting your dependencies right for a Docker container. Oh, and by the way, I'm just going to be transparent because you all might be wondering, what is this Google Food Bar Challenge? So I was in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and for a race, a fun run race. It was actually the Chicago Hot Chocolate Marathon. And when I was at this Starbucks just doing coding for fun, this thing popped up, and And it turned out to be like Google's secret hiring challenge. And just transparently, I'm not interested in being employed anywhere else. I'm really happy with my current position, but I could not say no. So I started to do it, and I got past level 1, and I started to do level 2, and then I just got tired, like literally tired, because I ran that 9-mile race, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. So in case you keep seeing what that is, that is Google's actual hiring challenge, but that was just me having fun more than anything. Okay, so Titanic BYOC, I'm pretty sure that we did a Docker file in here. Okay, so it looks like we just did the Slim Buster. Oh, that's right, because I had some weird stuff. I'm just going to copy this whole thing, though. Okay. All right, so and we don't have any models yet, so that's fine. All right, I'm going to copy this whole Docker file. So what this Docker file here is, and let's go ahead and give you all the rundown on what it's doing. So we are starting off with a base image of Python 3.9 Slim Buster. We are installing a couple little dependencies, and the reason for this is because I am running on an M1 Mac Mini here, and the M1 Mac Mini is an Apple Silicon chip, and therefore has some weird quirks to it, and so I had to add these things here. Then we are installing or pip installing our requirements, and then we are setting a couple of environment variables that, again, SageMaker like kind of pigeonholes you into making like all these little concessions here, which is fine because they're not a big deal. Like, it's just setting a couple of environment variables. And I did read what these were doing once. I can't tell you off the top of my head now, but they are important. But they're not really doing anything bad per se. And then we are exposing the port. And the reason I'm kind of hung up on that is because I don't know because this is really just for like the API, and we're not doing anything with the API yet. And so then we're copying the data appropriately over into here. So we are copying the models over in here, and then the container over to here. So this is again a kind of like a little foreshadowing of what is gonna the innards of a Docker or a SageMaker Docker container looks like is, so coming back to here, you can see that everything gets mounted up to optml, and I think I actually needed a slash there. Let me go look over here, because the one thing you might be wondering, like, why don't I have any of this stuff memorized? Memorization's not important. I mean, it is very helpful, I'll say that, but like what is more important when it comes to coding is that you understand the concepts of what you're wanting to do and not really like trying to memorize the syntax of everything. And so it's actually easier. So like I'm pretty sure that I did this for this file here. So did I start to create this? Okay, so I actually did do this here. So /optml, and then you could see that I started to create it here, but I never actually finished this project. Not because I don't intend to, it's just that I haven't. So a little bit of context on this project. This is, again, a project that I'm doing for a podcast that I listen to. It's actually like this guy that rates movies and stuff. Like, so, and once a month that we all get together and have like a Zoom call, just for the fun of it. And so I was really hoping to have this whole modeling thing done by the next Zoom call, but I just found out yesterday the next Zoom call is on Tuesday afternoon, or not Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, and I'm not going to have this done by then, but that's okay. Maybe by the middle of December. Okay, so, all right, so optml, that is correct. All right, //. Okay, so those things get loaded up appropriately. Okay, I'm glad I did look at this, though, because actually SageMaker does, like, even though it does load up things via, like, inputs, it's actually input/data. Okay, input, and then it's not outputs. Okay, I'm glad I looked at that because I would not have remembered that. Okay, input/data. All right, good to go. And then, I don't need a model path. Sorry about that. I get junk calls all the time. I don't know about you all, but I feel like they got ratcheted up, especially in the last couple months. Okay. All right, so all right, so I'm saving it to this path. All right, so os.path, I'll join output path, so that's good. That means I can go ahead and delete this. And then I want to create, well, actually I need to create a couple new directories here. And I personally, I don't like using the user interface. Like I actually so when I first started coding, I was like, why don't people like using the user interface? But then when I started using the command line more, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So like, just making sure I'm in the right directory. So mkdir dependencies. So I just made that new file, much easier than directory, much easier than using the interface. Mkdir, what is that called? I'm going to call this models, even though we don't have any models yet. Test. Make dir tests. Boom. Okay, and then under this test directory, then I'm going to create a new little shell script because I like to automate all my tests with shell scripts, basically, so that way I can run them really easily. So I'm going to call this local. Well, sorry, I actually like to put them in their own little directory. So I'm going to call this shell scripts directory. Boom. Right after I told you all I like doing this not via the user interface, then I just did it via the user interface. All right, so local data engineering.sh. Boom. Sure. All right, so what I'm going to do as part of this script here, let me go ahead and make it bigger, is the first thing that we want to do is, all right, well, I need to create a whole directory structure for emulating how SageMaker works. So cd tests. All right, I'm going to elevate this up here. And actually, since I can't zoom in on this interface, so actually I'm going to go out into this repo, or you're using my standard terminal instead. Remind me later, repos, ls, cd. What project are we working on? I apologize. Movie ratings model, that's right. All right, so ls. All right, so we're going to cd down into tests. All right, and then I'm going to make it sm dummy dir. This is what I like to call it. So this is going to be my fake SageMaker dummy directory. Do I really want to call it that? Actually, no, I'm going to call it something different. sm dummy dir. Am I going to? Yeah, rm rf sm dummy dir. All right, so what should I call it instead? I'm going to call it SageMaker dir. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, so then I'm going to cd into that. SageMaker dir. All right, so I'm going to create, no. So what is it that I'm trying to create here? I'm just trying to think. All right, so, all right, I'm in here. So make dir. All right, I got to look again. So input, output, model. All right, input, make dir output, make dir model. Yeah. Okay, so in here, this is basically emulating the same directory structure that we have going on. All right, so what I'm going to want to do with this shell script thing here then is I'm going to copy the data at the start. And the reason I'm struggling a little bit is because I want to make sure that I'm doing this right. So I have I know this is a little bit hard to see, but in my data directory I do have a clean and a raw data folders here. In fact, I don't even know if I really care to have these all separated out like that. And I always swap back and forth if I like underscores or dashes between my file names. I actually think I like underscores better. So I actually am going to change this. Again, another personal preference. It does not matter. Okay, so do I need? Oh, I need a little shebang at the top. Like that is an actual term, like not one that I just made up. So like this thing here is called a shebang, and it's basically saying, okay, this is going to be a shell script. In fact, let me go ahead and just show. So echo, hello friends, just to show you that this does do what I want it to do. Okay, so let's get ourselves up. Cd tests, cd shell scripts, ls bash local, no, not local predict, local data engineering, and so you can see, boom, hello friends there. All right. All right, so the first thing I want to do, what do we got to do first? We got to move our data. Moving the data into the input directory. Well, actually, do I even want to? All right. All right. Sorry. I'm going to do a little bit less talking right now just because my throat is not feeling great. I warned. It's 2:30 exactly. Ha! I knew it. I knew it, like 30 minutes in, my throat was not going to feel great, but that's okay. I'm going to take a sip of, Baja Blast Zero because that helps out. Okay. What data do I need to move in? All right, so I guess I don't need to move in any data. I don't need to move in any data yet because nothing exists yet. And so, but well, yeah, I'm gonna make it try to exist. All right, so let's collapse this down for now. Where am I going to be running this from? Because I actually need it to run up at the root level because I'm going to do the Docker build, and in order to do the Docker build, this context needs to be at the root level, the repo. So this is not going to be clean. I'm sure that there's another better way to do that. So cd dot 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 dot. I don't. Is that too high? Let's just do a pwd. All right. So yep, that's what I wanted. All right. So this is now at the root level. All right. And I like to put comments on everything. Changing directory to root level of the repository, and then I'm going to move this. All right. All right. Moving data from data directory into SageMaker dir. Okay. All right, so the way that works is we are going to move. It's actually, well, it is the raw data. Okay. All right, so move. All right, so data slash raw slash all data.csv into where did we put it? So test slash SageMaker dir slash okay, input. Is that good? Need another slash there. Oh, data. I knew I was forgetting one. All data.csv. Okay, and I like to test as I go. So, and we could just delete this out manually. So if I run this here, all right. So move rename data to no such file or directory. Okay, what did I do wrong here? All right, so let's do a pwd again because I thought I had that right, but apparently not. To SageMaker test input data. What did I do wrong here? Can anybody spot what I did wrong? I clearly did something wrong. Okay, let me do the pwd again just to make sure. All right, so pwd. Oh, I love this time of year, but I don't love the fact that like it gets cold and then people get sick, and especially it's hit my family hard because of the whole COVID situation. My daughters have not been used to being exposed to other children who tend to get colds or whatever, and so it's just been kind of rough. All right, so tests SageMaker dir input. Oh, there's no data directory. That would be why. Data. Okay, maybe that's why. Okay, let's look. Is it in here now? Oh no, I didn't mean to do a move. Shoot, I meant to do a copy. Gosh darn it. All right, my bad. All right, no big deal. We'll just move this back. We'll move it back, just right there. Boom. All right, so there's our CSV data of what we have so far. Okie doke. All right, so we copied all of that over into there. And then what do we want to do now? Do I have to? I don't remember how some of this works. I apologize. And when I mean some of it works, I don't remember how SageMaker specifically likes their stuff. SageMaker is a fine service and all, but like they don't want you using your own container. I kind of feel like it's just so difficult, and I wish it was easier than how it is. Okay, so I'm moving that over, and then at the very end of it, I want to delete everything out. So deleting data from SageMaker dir. Well, first let me go ahead before I even type that out. So let's do a clear down here. Clear. All right, bash. All right, so and then I'm gonna echo again here at the end here. Data engineering test complete. Okay. All right, so it should be here. Okay, there we go, and then it's still up in here. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and manually delete that. All right, so then we're gonna do an rm data raw. No, not raw. Sorry, test / SageMaker. And the reason I'm doing this is because if you so this is good for local testing, but like let's say you have data on your laptop that you shouldn't be pushing up into a place like GitHub or GitLab or whatever your source code repository is. This is why I'm doing the deleting. So what I actually do transparently is I'll have something like this data directory here, except I'll call it a sensitive, and kind of like I did here with the key. So let's look at the gitignore file here. And so with the gitignore file, this is basically saying, okay, like anything that I add in here, I don't want you to mess with. So like let me just show. So like actually on my own, like my work laptop, I'll have a directory called sensitive, and I'll stick it in here, and then I'll have my data. And then so when I want to do my testing, I'll just copy it over temporarily and then delete it, and then keep the things in the sensitive directory. That way I'm not pushing them up into a place that I should not be. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close that out. All right, so remove tests with an S, SageMaker dir, input /data /all data.csv. All right, actually, before I run that, let me just show you again. So running it, so there it should show up in here. There we go. So it's in here now, but when I add this, what it's going to do is it's going to run it, and then when the so in between these lines here between 9 and through 16, we're going to be adding more code of like how the container is going to be making use of that. But at the very end here, the idea is like we're going to delete the data from a directory it should not be when all said and done. So let's go ahead and run that again. Oh, I saw the PWD. I'm like, why is this thing showing like that? That would be why. All right, so clear. All right, bash. Boom. All right, so it's very quick. Okie doke. So we want to build. What do we want to do? Okay, we do. We do also want to move our outputs whenever they're done. Moving outputs. On job completion into appropriate data directory. So sometimes as kind of like sometimes it's kind of like a, what do you call it? A way to kind of help me think. Like before I actually write the code, I will go ahead and write it as a plain text comment. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm not going to do this right now because I don't know exactly how I'm going to output things yet, or how this is going to look quite yet, which is fine. All right, so I do need to. All right, so next step. I like to rebuild the Docker file every time I run one of these, and so the first time it's going to take a little bit, obviously, because we've not run this before, but every subsequent run is not going to be too bad. All right, so I just realized we don't have a requirements.txt file. So actually I'm realizing now that I kind of deviated from the topic at hand, but this is important stuff, and this is stuff that I do on a regular basis. So what are we doing with our data engineering? I think we only need we need several things. So let me actually just go over here into a pip3 list. Okay, so we need, all right, I need to come back in here. Let me go ahead and move this on over. All right, so what do we need from main.py? We need NumPy, pandas. Do I need NumPy? Am I using NumPy really? Okay, well, and again, it's a good practice to version pin your things. And if you don't know what the latest version of something is, the easiest way to do it is just go to PyPy and just search for it. So PyPy here again is the Python package index. And so like if I search like NumPy here, it'll give me the latest version. So 1.21.4. All right, so where did I put my requirements.txt file? So NumPy equals 1.21.4. Okay, pandas. And I'm actually realizing I actually stuck all these inside of this notebook here. So this might make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so TMDB for 3, API. So search. Okay, 1.7.6. All right. Equals 1.7.6. Is that correct? Yep. All right, so we need pandas. Pandas, what is your latest version? All right. That is not what I want. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. All right, so 1.3.4. Pandas. Pandas. Well, actually, I'm going to logically separate these just because I like to do this. So I'm going to call this general data science packages specific API packages. And let me make this bigger for you. Sorry. I got to remember I'm streaming and I got to make this big for y'all so you can all see. Because if you can't see, then this stream's not very helpful for you. All right, 1.3.4, is that correct? All right, so what else do I need? All right, so I need TMDB. All right, I need IMDb. So imdb.py, or not py, imdb.py. No, I keep saying dot. No, imdb py. All right. Is this right? Yes, this is right. All right, so what is your latest version here? Release history. Oh, he does a weird versioning system. Okay. Is this really right? Oh, now I'm curious. What do I have downloaded? Oh, okay. So apparently this is right. So 4.18. I've never seen that before. I actually kind of like that because it's kind of helpful to see like when these things are installed. Okay, so I already figured out what it's called. IMDb py. IMDb py equals. Okay. That second letter, why is that capitalized? But okay, I'm glad I checked. All right, so anyway, so that's IMDb. Data gathering. I need OMDB, IMDb, OMDB, TMDB. Like these folks are real original with their things. All right, so how come I didn't put install instructions here? All right, well, what is this called? All right, OMDB client. All right, OMDB, not BD, DB. All right, is this it? Let me check with my own local stuff here. All right, OMDB, API. I wonder what the difference between the two is. But anyway, this is right. OMDB equals that. All right. And then finally, the Rotten Tomatoes, the last one. Okay, well, I just realized I have two of these open. All right, scrolling on down. All right, so how is everybody doing? I'm just checking the streams and the chats. Hopefully everybody's doing all right. I see my wife is here, or was here, at least as of a little while ago, because she made a comment in the YouTube stream. Okay. All right, so Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes scraper 1.4.0. Okay. Rotten Tomatoes scraper. Equals. Okay. All right. Just thinking through what else I need for the Docker file. So that's the requirements.txt file. And I like to keep them in this dependencies directory. And depending on how your organization works, you might have more stuff in here. I don't think we'll have anything more. So I just realized I do need to copy the keys over into the container because they're not in here right now, which is fine. Easy enough. So what we got to do is do a copy keys into opt/keys. Okay, and then and then everything's going to be running out of here. Okay, so how are we doing? Okay, I think this is good for a starting place. All right, I'm going to do a Docker build now. I'm going to do a building the Docker image from the Docker file. Okay. All right, so what we need to do is a Docker build -t. The T stands for tagging. So this is going to be what we're going to call it. We're going to call this movie ratings model dev. We're just going to call this our dev container because why not? And then build context is going to be that. All right, so let's go ahead and see how this is going to work. All right, so you can see here that we are starting to download the base image. This might take a little bit for the first time. So just as a reminder, because we covered a stream before with Docker files, the way that Docker works is that it runs through each of these steps. And so as long as you don't I'm sorry, I'm not even displaying the Docker file right now. Okay, here we go. Let me minimize this for a little bit for right now. So what it's doing is it's running through stepping through each of these individual steps, and it caches like the previous steps. So like let's say I made an alteration down here and added another variable or whatever. It would, like, when you run the Docker build again, it's not going to run everything up above. So that's why you need to be mindful of how your Docker file is structured. You want to put the things that you know aren't going to change that much toward the top. So like the base image always goes at the top, of course, but then you might have like your Linux dependencies and your Python dependencies toward the top. And then I personally put the container like as far to the bottom as I can, because that's where I'm doing like the most of my tweaks and stuff. So when I run my Docker file again, and let's say I made a change to the script in here, everything above here, everything highlighted here has already been cached, and therefore it should run fairly quickly. All right, so let's do a little quick check, see how things are doing down here. All right, I'm trying to think. All right, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and start to alter the script even more. All right, and so this is the interesting thing, is that you have so when we're going to do a Docker run, but we need to mount. We're going to mount up the SageMaker directory as if it is the optimel directory. And I'm trying again. I don't remember off the top of my head how to do this. So all right, so we're going to running the Docker container while mounting the SageMaker dir. And again, this container is going to work just fine across multiple different platforms. It's just that I have to do it like this, because if I don't do it like this, then SageMaker is not going to like it. All right, so it looks like it built just fine. That's great. All right, so we're going to do a Docker run, and I can't remember. I think it's V. Docker run V. So is it V? Now I gotta look. Docker run mail volume. Okay, so use volumes. Well, I don't like the official documentation. We'll just look at Stack Overflow, because Stack Overflow is generally easier to look at. All right, so Docker run. Okay, so it looks like you mount it that way. All right, so what you need to do is you mount in like what it's called on your computer, and then you're going to mount into like what it is called inside the container. Okay, so let's do a Docker run. So this is going to be, it's going to mount up test/SageMaker dir to opt/ml. I hope this, I always forget how to put the slashes appropriately, so I'm not expecting this to work the first time necessarily. All right, so Docker build, and in fact, just with this main.py file for now. Like when this gets loaded up, I'm going to comment this part out. And then I didn't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to comment that out. And I am going to just say, because, so the way it works is, all right, gosh darn it. So optimal, so we need to have the name of our model that we want to run. So movie ratings model dev. I'm struggling to remember off the top of my head because I've not done this on my local machine before. I've done it on my work laptop, but obviously I can't go whipping out my work laptop right now. So, but that's fun. And again, like this. So this is just all general like Docker stuff. Like I'm not doing anything proprietary here to violate what I'm doing at work. But anyway, and plus that we're and this is again why we're using like our fun model here. So this is not like a real deal. Okay, so but the way it works is, so you do the Docker run, and then you actually, the way that SageMaker works is that then when it does the Docker run, then it will execute whatever script you have inside of here. And so with this one, in fact, I'm going to even put a thing in here that just says pwd just to see what it does. Well, let's go ahead and test this out in a different directory. Okay, so cd container ls bash preprocess. Okay, so that worked. All right, df reviews is now defined, of course, because it's not there. All right, all right. So let's go back into our engineering directory. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and run this, but I don't think this is gonna work because I know I screwed up something in here. So SageMaker because well, I'm a little bit mind jumbled right now, as y'all can tell. All right, so by the way, I am checking both streams for questions, but I don't know if just LinkedIn has got like a weird interface, but like I can't see if anybody's asked any questions, so I apologize. I'm changing over to the web interface and not using the app, and let's see if that does any better. Am I still live? That's the other good question. Am I still live? Post views. Okay, I'm still live. All right. Okay, back to this here. All right, so I'm gonna do a clear bash, not that. What are we calling this? Local data engineering. Error response. Invalid documentation. All right, so invalid mount for volume type. Duh. And so path must be absolute. Okay, so I knew I screwed that up somehow. So maybe this is it. We'll see here in a second. I probably screwed this up again. Error. All right. Test includes invalid characters for a volume name, local volume name only. Well, what did I? Oh, that's because I don't really know, honestly. Maybe I needed to include a slash there as well. Error response. Okay, well, I got to go back and look here. All right, so you have your directory. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, how about this? How about this, SageMaker? Or not SageMaker, Docker. Is this going to make you happy? Let's see. All right, so paths is not shared from the host and is not known to Docker. Not shared from the host. Okay, you can configure shared paths from the doctor. Okay, I did not know this was because it's been so long since you know most people don't set up Docker daily like this. Like, so apparently I do have something wrong in here. Okay, so what does it say again? Response. All right, so you can configure shared path Docker preference. All right, so Docker. All right, I got my little Docker icon up here. Docker preferences. All right. It's loading. It's bouncing. You can't see the icon, but it's bouncing on my bottom screen here. All right, so it should load up here. All right, let me move this guy up here so you all can see. Okay, so what did it say? I am so forgetful when it comes to these things. All right, so preferences, resources, file sharing. All right, so resources, file sharing. Okay, so, all right, these directories can be, all right, can I just add like whatever I want? Like all right, so these directories can be bound. All right, so I want to add just like whatever I want. Like, how do I do that? Okay, so apparently I've spent way too much time trying to get this to work, and I don't. Oh no! Did I? All right, sorry. I'm not going to try to get this working more for right now. But basically, this is gonna how it works. Like, and something's going on with my local Docker. But like at the end, like, so what's going to happen here is we're going to do a Docker build, Docker run, and then like when this is finished running, because we're mounting this up appropriately to the SageMaker directory, then the output should go into this directory over here on the left, and then I'm going to have a little thing that moves them. I'm actually going to do a move test / SageMaker dir / output / and then it's going to be all data .csv again back into data / raw / all data.csv. So that's not the only thing. We're going to be moving that one other file. So move test / SageMaker maker dir / output / okay, what did we call this other thing here? Kalen reviews. All right. And the reason it's called Kalen Reviews is because the guy's name, who's doing all the reviewing, his name is Kalen Bean, son of the famous actor Michael Bean of Terminator fame. So yeah. Okay, coming back in here. All right, so data / raw / Kalen reviews.csv. Okay, so that's basically what this is going to do here. All right. And if this was working, then I think this would be the full shell script. So let's go, it's not working right now because of that weird Docker thing, and I need to figure that out. But basically, so what it's doing is when we execute this shell script, so right now we're in test / shell script. So first thing first is we're going to go to the root level of the directory, and then I'm going to do another echo here. Rebuilding the Docker image, and then I'm going to echo again, running the Docker image for data engineering, and then moving the outputs into appropriate final directory, and then deleting data from SageMaker dir. And then I suppose if I'm doing all this echoing, I don't really need these other comments, but I'll keep them in there. Why not? All right, so this is more or less done if this would actually work. So I'm going to comment this out for now. I think it's going to scream at me that these things aren't even here, which, well, actually, let me go ahead and comment these out. But, what is going on here? All right. I'm going to go ahead and comment those out. All right. So, clear. All right, so that. All right, bash local data engineering. And so that's what makes this thing super nice then, is like if I ever wanted to test this out in the future with my whole thing, then I just run this little shell script here. And then it does all the data moving for me, and it does all like the Docker rebuild and everything. And yeah, so this is exactly what I do on a day-to-day basis whenever I do my own local testing. Okay, so I'm going to uncomment these, but I know this is not working. Here, actually, you know what? Let me try this again just because I'm curious. Clear. Because I really do want to get it kind of working if I can. What time is it? All right, we're going to go for a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer. All right, so error. You can configure. All right, is not shared from the host. Okay, so I want this. I actually want the full directory path. All right, so let me see. All right, cd SageMaker dir. Oh wait, I just realized I stopped looking at LinkedIn. Sorry about that, LinkedIn. Okay. Sorry. Reloading this. I don't see. Okay. Tap to show chat. Okay, nobody's asked any questions. Good. Like, so, I don't know. Whoa, I forgot this is plugged in. Never mind. All right, not going to touch that. Sorry. All right. So I want the full path here. All right. So can I just copy this into here? Like, copy. All right. So do I need to tap that little plus button? Oh. So you can't see, but when I tap that plus button, it opened this up here. All right, so repositories, movie ratings model. All right, well, you know what? I just want to give it access to everything. No, because I think it has to be specific, doesn't it? All right, so test SageMaker here. All right, apply and restart. All right, let's see how long this takes. Have y'all had a good week? My week's been busy. I'm glad that the week is over. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving next week, as I'm sure you all are as well. Did the restart already finish? I don't know, but I don't know if you could tell. I'm kind of getting a little bit quieter because I'm trying to protect my voice, pacing my voice. All right, gosh darn it, clear. All right, bash local data engineering. Oh wait. All right, cd shell bash local data engineering again. All right, are you gonna give me problems this time? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Okay. So I thought I just restarted this, or did I not? Okay. So this is update and restart, maybe. All right. I don't know. Something's not working in here. Okay. But let's, I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to do right now with this piece in particular. So let's go ahead and start. Like I said, I already had created one file in here for moving all these other things in here. Let's go ahead and uncomment this. Okay, so the next piece after we create the reviews is we need to get the data, like the TMDB data. So the way this works is I created a little pipeline. Okay. And so, by the way, we still have the ability to run this outside of the container, but I prefer to try to run everything inside the container because, generally speaking, when we go and deploy this container somewhere, this is the thing that we're going to be using. So we want to ensure that, virtual environments are important, but if you're going to be running everything in a container, then why not just go ahead and have everything being built out of the container? Let me see if I can use the word container like 10 more times. Okay. Okay, so I do need to load in my keys. All right. All right. Where do I want to load in the keys from? Okay, I'm just going to do... So I don't like to call this file path instantiation. I like to call this project support. I'm going to call this project support. Why not? All right, so I'm going to load in the keys, loading in the API keys from other directory, and then, well, I already had a comment there. All right, so, and that should be right because we are just, one up and then down. So keys.save load. All right, so then I also need to just extract these keys from that file. I'm trying to be careful of how I necessarily do this. All right. Okay, and then we're going to pass in the keys so we can then start the work. All right, so I'm going to create a new file in here. I'm going to call this get tmdb data.py. And again, you don't have to structure things like I do, but I'm trying to make this. So what's going to end up happening here is we're going to have individual files for each of our data sources, and then if you want to go and look at the specific stuff for one specific data source, then you can go inside of one of these files and do here. But if you want to just have a general flow of understanding of what all these things do, then we're just going to stick everything inside this main.py here file here. So from get tmdb data.py, not py, import star. So this is just basically saying okay, from this Python file over here, import everything that we need. All right, so All right, so print. There's one thing. I'm gonna create because if you're recalling, there's one thing that where I wanted to like slim down like the delta. All right, so creating and I want to do that as its own thing. So what do I want to call this file? So generate delta.py add. All right, so from main.py here, then I'm going to do a from generate delta.py. No, not. All right, import, sorry. So what we're going to do in this delta file here is that I want to slim down what I'm trying to get between the files from the all data file here. So let's just take a look at the all data file here. I know this is not going to be very clean, but basically, so like the way the script kind of runs right now is that it's getting all the data all the time, all at once. And so what I want to do is like, you know, if this already exists, then we're just getting the new movies that Caitlin's rated more recently and not having to run this whole pipeline again. Okay, so, all right, what do I need here? All right, so in order to generate the delta, I need to load in the original file, I need to pass in the reviews directory, and I need to make sure, and I want to do a comparison between the two. Okay, so just thinking out loud here. What do I want to do? All right, so, all right, I'm going to create a function called generate delta.py, def generate delta.py, or generate delta. And so what it's going to take in is, here, let me make that bigger for y'all. And let's go, you know, I don't like writing doc strings. And I don't do this on a regular basis, but I want to do this right. Just because. And so actually, if you look at PEP 8 and you ask like, all right, what does an appropriate doc string look like? It doesn't really have a good answer. And so this is actually, I think this is Google's nomenclature, is like the way it works is, okay, so you have the, like what the function does, like the general description of the function, the arguments that it takes in, and then what it returns back. All right, so what the doc string here is, we are generating a delta data pandas data frame so as not to duplicate any data we have already gathered. All right, so, and then, all right, so inputs, space this out. I think it's inputs. Did I call it inputs? I want to keep args. I called it args. Okay, args is fine. Args, we're going to take in df reviews, and yeah. Oh, I do want to do the data load as part of this main.py file here. Loading in the raw data gathered from previous run. Df previous, or df, what do I want to call this? I don't know why I have numpy in here, because I'm not going to delete it, because I'm sure, oh, it's for nans, that's right. I'm using it for nans, but I don't need it in this file necessarily. Okay, and all right, so I'm going to call this df previous run equals pd.read csv. All right, and so this is going to come in from the input directory, os.path.join. All right, and then we're going to do input path, and then all data.csv. I think this is right. I'm pausing just because I want to make sure that this is all right. I think it's right. All right, so I'm going to add another little thing in here. Getting, slimming down the data to a delta to not duplicate data already gathered. And this is just like a time-saving kind of thing. Because some of these things kind of take a while to run. All right, slimming down data to delta And then I'm going to call this df reviews equals generate delta. All right, and so, I mean, obviously we've not created this function yet, but we're going to pass in the df reviews from above, df reviews, and then we're also going to pass in df previous run. Okay, and then once that's all done, we're going to say, delta generation complete. Delta generation complete. Okay, so the args here are going to be df reviews, df previous run, right? Df reviews, df previous run. Okay, and I want to just make sure that like I'm following the same nomenclature here. Args, so all right, args is df reviews, data frame, a data frame containing all the reviews of movies that Kaylin has rated. And then we're gonna also, why does that indentation look weird? No, it's fine. Okay, and then df previous run. So picking this data frame, a data frame containing all, oh my gosh, all the data from the previous run. Okay, and then the output's going to be the df delta, but I'm just going to call it, well, I'm going to call it df reviews delta. Yeah, we'll call it df reviews delta. All right, so what am I calling this? Returns. All right, so returns. All right, df. Just checking to make sure that my technology is working okay. We'll go for another 20 minutes or so. And just because, you know, we're getting to, I hope you basically see what we're doing, and I'll complete this all on my own. Okay, df delta e. And this is going to be a pandas data frame, of course. So pandas data frame, a data frame containing only the reviews where we have not yet gathered data. All right, so that is the doc string. Okay, so the first thing that we want to, the way I'm going to do this is with, because there's like a function, it's called like the merge function, and I think it can merge in, like it's kind of like doing like and like if you're familiar with SQL, like a left join or an inner join. So like we're gonna do, I don't remember what this is gonna be called specifically, but we're gonna do a join, and it's basically gonna say like, okay, anything in the reviews that's not in the previous run, keep that. Like, and so I don't remember the syntax how to do that off the top of my head. I know I've done it before though, so I know it works. Okay, so, but I guess I'm struggling because I want to be able to test this out as like I go, and it's not going to work right if like I can't get this dumb thing working with the Docker file. So, and I don't want you to all have to like watch me kind of flounder my way through that. So actually, you know what? I can go ahead and keep going, like, because I know what the output of this is going to be like. So, wait, I call this df delta, right? df delta. All right, so the next phase is going to be getting the data from TMDB. All right, so gathering data from TMDB. All right, and so we are going to call this df all data equals. All right, and this is where we're going to need to get TMDB data, and then we are going to pass in df delta, and that is it. Okay, and then print data collection from TMDB complete. And basically we're going to do this like a couple different times. So getting the data from IMDb. All right, so print gathering data from IMDb. All right, so df all data equals get TMDB data, df all data. In fact, that's what I'm going to call this. I'm not going to call that the delta. Df all data, df all data, because what we're basically doing here is like at the end of each one of these things, then df all data, like we're gonna just keep building like this onto this master data frame. Okay, but I hope you see what we're doing here is like, so when this whole thing is said and done, and I like to put 3 spaces in between my sections. Then when it's all said and done, like then if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, let's say, and somebody wants to understand like how my data engineering works, then they can go into this data engineering subdirectory and then look at the main.py file, and they can see in plain text here, okay, this is what this thing is doing, and then like if they want to delve into any of the more details here, then they could just go into like this respective file right here, and then yeah, okay, so. TMDB data. So actually, I did. There's another thing that we need to pass in here. We need to pass in the key. TMDB key. Yeah. All right. So I got too many tabs open. I'm gonna close everything out right now, except for my main.py file. Like sometimes I get too many tabs open. I don't know if that happens to you all with, just general web browsing. It happens. Happens to the best of us. Okay. So TMDB data. All right. So what did I call this? Okay. In fact, well, I don't know why I did close that. So because I do want to keep this open. I'm going to copy this syntax here. All right. Get TMDB data. All right. And so we're passing in df all data and the TMDB key. Df all data in the TMDB key. TMDB key. Let me make this bigger for you all. Sorry, I keep forgetting to do that. All right. So and with this one, we are going to be retrieving the appropriate data from the movies database. TMDB, because that's what that is. All right, so we're going to pass in df all data, a data frame containing all the data we have collected so far, and then I don't remember. I think this is just a string. str. All right, so I'm going to call this TMDB key. TMDB key. A string representing our API key for interacting with TMDB's API. And then at the end here, we're gonna a data frame containing all the data from before plus the TMDB data. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like in the end here, and then here below, that's when we can go ahead and start adding these things. All right, so then we need to instantiate, or well, let me do it from here. All right, so instantiating the objects using the API key. All right, so instantiating the TMDB objects that we need. All right, defining which features we need to keep. Okay. All right, so TMDB feats. TMDB feats. Is that what that was called? I don't remember. All right, so creating a new data frame to hold all the TMDB data. Okay. Okay. And again, I am a very notorious commenter, and the reason is because, you know, like sometimes, I mean, obviously I could read through my own code to understand what things are doing, but sometimes it's just easier to like read it in plain text commas TMDB feeds. Okay, and so what is going on here is that we are iterating through the whole data frame here to actually get the movie data out. Okay, so come on. I need all y'all. All right, so iterating through the data frame. Okay, so we are not, here, let me zoom out just a little bit. All right, so we're not, it's not DF, it's actually DF all data. DF all data. DF all data. All right, so we are extracting the movie name, the rating. All right, and then we're doing the search results. Just making sure the syntax is right, because I did change the names of some things in here. Obviously, so TMDB details, so we're getting that appropriately. We're checking the length. We're checking for nans. Okay, so this is where I really need to put the import numpy as np. Okay, and then I guess I could take this out of, oh, I already did. Look at me, thinking ahead. All right, so, okay. All right, I skipped through here. All right, so new entry equals pd.data frame from dict. All right, and then we are appending tf. All right, so, okay. So far so good. All right, so coming back into here. All right, so we are renaming some of the column names. All right, and I like to stick these things at the top. Well, yeah, why not? I guess we'll just keep them in line. Why not? All right. I want to make sure that the indentation is appropriate. All right. So, and again, TMDB. Actually, TMDB new call names. Just want to make sure that that looks okay. Okay. All right. So we got the new TMDB column names. All right. So then we're going to apply those appropriately. Applying new column names to appropriately. All right, so I want to copy, boom, all right, and place equals true. So df.d, and then oh, okay. Huh. Okay. Maybe I didn't want to call this df all data. Maybe I wanted to just call it the ratings. All right, so let me come back in here. All right, so df all data. All right, no, let's just call this df reviews again, and then df reviews. Sorry, I know I'm flip-flopping a little bit, but I want to make this make sense. So df reviews. All right, and you know, for memory reasons, this is why I'm overwriting these things, is because, like, you know, I could name these all different things, but that's not a good use of compute power as far as memory goes. All right, so we are going to return the reviews. All right, so let me come back to here. So reviews, df all data. Just reading through some things here. All right, so we're going to pass in the reviews and the key. All right. What did I call this? Using. Okay. And I know you can see here that I was saving this out as its own CSV. I don't know why I did that. Like, I thought it would be helpful for some reason, but I don't really think it is, so I'm not going to hold that. And then at the end of this whole thing, we're going to return df all data. Okay. All right, that should work. And I'm not, you know, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do a live test here just because, like, of the weird business with Docker, and I'll get that worked out, and maybe I'll demo the whole thing later. But yeah, so again, I hope you get the idea of what we're gonna do here. And actually, let's go ahead and call it quits. But so at the end of the day here, like how we keep things clean. So we're doing everything under the data engineering directory. We're gonna have multiple different Python files for each of the respective data sources. But if somebody who is fresh to this, never seen this before, like, and wants to understand like how the data engineering files work, they just go into main.py here. And so like when the preprocess script does a little run thing here, I can delete that out now. So you can see here that it's actually going into the data engineer directory, running the main.py file, and then in pretty much plain text English here, you can see like how we're actually getting everything from each of these functions that we are going to be creating as part of these adjacent Python files. And let's call it quits. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this stream. I'm going to clean this all up. I'm going to push it all up to, you know what? Actually, let me just to show you that I'm going to do it right now, because I'm so bad about saying like I'm going to push it up to GitHub, and I'm not done that yet. So starting cleanup of notebook code into Python files. That's what I'm going to call this. And then I'm going to do a commit and a push. And it's going to tell me that something's wrong here, but I'm going to go ahead and commit anyway. And just to make sure, let's go over into GitHub to really see that it's up in here. All right, so, all right, DK Hundley, this is me. All right, so repositories, movie ratings model updated 11 seconds ago. Okay, so it looks like it should all be good. So yeah, if you come into the container directory here and you come into data engineering, you can see that we've got our files just like we created. So if you want to follow along from here, I will be probably updating this as I have time throughout the weekend. Actually, Sunday's pretty busy, but tomorrow's not too busy. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'll have to talk to my wife about that. Okay, but anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this stream. I am going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all for joining. This has been always fun for me. I am a nerd. I hope it's been fun for you and informative. This is infotainment at its finest, people. And I will catch you some other time.